Okay, the purpose of this video is to teach you about the basic structure of scientific and medical research papers. The structure of these kinds of papers is so common that it has a name, IMRAD, as you can see here. And you can see there's even a Wikipedia page about it. IMRAD stands for Introduction, Methods, Results, and Discussion. Research papers have four main sections, as shown in this diagram from Wikipedia. The sections are, again, Introduction, Methods, Results, and Discussion. Although sometimes the names might be a little different. Sometimes the introduction doesn't have a name in the paper, it's just the beginning. And the method is sometimes called Materials and Methods. And the discussion might be a discussion only and a conclusion after that, or it might be results and discussion together, called results and discussion. But basically, these four parts are always there. Now you can also see in the shape of this diagram that it's wider at the top and more narrow in the middle. And the meaning of that is that at the beginning of the introduction, the paper is more general, and then it becomes more specific to your topic of your study. And then in the discussion section, it goes back from specifically about your experiment to going more general again. Here is an example of one research paper about contagious yawning in chimpanzees. If I highlight the different areas, then you can see that here are the four main sections. Here's the introduction, here's the material and methods, here's the results, and here's the discussion in green. Before the introduction, up here, you see that we have the abstract. The abstract is one paragraph that explains the main point of the study. And before that, we have, of course, the title and the names of the authors. Okay, here we have three authors: Anderson, Miyawa Yamakoshi, and Matsuzawa. Okay, so next I want to explain the main point of each of these sections. The introduction, this part of the paper answers the question, why was this study done? And inside the introduction, it will introduce the main topic, and then it will give a summary of previous research, what is already known about the topic, and it sets up your research, your study, by formulating a clear problem to be solved. It explains the hypothesis and the logic leading to that hypothesis, and finally, it explains the main purpose of the study. This section is also useful for learning about the subject if you don't know much about it, because it should teach you the important background information and review the most important previous research about the topic. The end of the introduction has the main purpose of the study. That's important to know if you're looking for that point. Okay, the next section is the method, and this section answers the question, how was the study done? It explains the subjects or the things that the experiment was done on. It explains the conditions that are compared in the experiment and the treatment. It explains the procedure to do the experiment and what is measured. This section is usually kind of boring because it's very detailed, but readers want to be able to check how someone did the experiment so that they know if they can trust the results. And they might have different interpretations of the results. So when you first read a paper, you might skip this section if you just want to know the results and you don't have any particular questions that you want to answer. Okay, the next section is the results. This section answers the question, what did the study find? So it explains the results of the study, it explains any problems with the data collection, and it also will mention any other interesting trends in the data. It also usually contains figures or tables that show the result, and in the sentences it will mention those figures or tables. An important point to know about the results is that this section explains the results without any interpretation, just the numerical facts and the statistical results, so that readers can think for themselves about the meaning. The graphs, as you see here, are usually part of the results section. And notice that the graphs have a clear explanation called a caption. The purpose of this is that you can read the caption and look at the figure, the graph or the picture, and you can understand it without having to read anything else. The last section is the discussion section, and this answers the question, what is the meaning of the results? It reviews the main results of the study. It compares the results to previous research. Do they agree or contradict the previous research? It also discusses possible reasons and interpretations of the results. And it gives suggestions for further research, possible applications, and then finally the conclusion. This is usually the most interesting section because it tells you the main points and what they mean. But to be able to trust these conclusions, you're going to need to read the rest of the paper to find out more of the details of how they did the study. Last here is, after the discussion, the last part of the paper is the list of references. And these are all of the references that are mentioned in the paper. So you might see, like right here, it says, this point here, reported by Anderson and Meno, 2003, and you can look here and see Anderson, Meno, 2003. By the way, Anderson, J.R. Anderson, is also the author of this paper. Okay, so this is his own previous research. Okay, that's the main part of this video, but I also just want to quickly show some other examples so you can see what other papers look like. Here is one more paper about contagious yawning in chimpanzees, and again, you see, here's the introduction, here's the methods, there's the results, here's the discussion, references. Here is a paper on contagious yawning in humans. This one has the same sections, but this is a slightly different organization. This one puts the method last. Occasionally you will see this kind of paper, but it's not really the normal way. Okay, so they have introduction, results, discussion, and then here is the methods. Okay, and then there's the references. Here's an older paper, 1994, on the effects of breakfast and caffeine on cognitive performance. And again, this is the abstract. They don't say abstract, but it's here. Here's the introduction. Here is the method. This one has two, let me see, there's one experiment, method and results, discussion, and then experiment number 2, method, results, and discussion, and then the reference list at the end. Here's another paper on the effects of caffeine on different things. Again, introduction. This time it says materials and methods, but it's the same. Results. Here's discussion. Some graphs. There's the references. Notice the discussion section is quite long, and the introduction is also quite long. That's usual in research papers. And then lastly, this is the paper by Takahashi and Yamanaka that won the Nobel Prize for these guys from Kyoto University. And again, same structure. This is one of the, like I showed you before, one of those kind of unusual types that puts the method last. But here's the, instead of abstract, they say summary, introduction, results. Here's the discussion. And then method, here they call it experimental procedures. This is the method. And then here's the references. And after that is just diagrams and things. Okay, and that's it. just to review, these are the four main sections: introduction, methods, results, and discussion. And, occasionally the methods will be last, but this is the standard structure. You'll find it in every research paper. And that makes it much easier to read them.